today, some kind of momentum has to be built to make your dreams come true. Ask yourself, how can I stay focused with all of this crazy happening right now? Nobody wins out of the gate.
Well, folks, this is the Read Method Insider Podcast, episode 68, and we are absolutely live in the house with Mr. Evan Carmichael.
Thank you for the love. Appreciate the energy. This is great.
Awesome. I love having you on the show. Now, let me tell you, your videos and I have spent a lot of time cooking in the kitchen, okay? It's one of the pastimes, one of the times I'm always there and I'm consuming content. And this is how I came to discover you, because I'm always, consuming personal development and success content. And, there you kept popping up and delivering the goods to me. So one of the first questions I want to talk to you about is, what was your driving force that contributed to you becoming the #1 YouTube entrepreneurship leader right now?
So I think your purpose comes from your pain. I think whatever you went through that you struggled a lot through in your life, where you felt the lowest as a human being, is the thing you want to help other people solve, because there's lots of people who currently are who you used to be. And so for me, it was being a 19-year-old entrepreneur, struggling, not making any money, not having any success, feeling like a total failure, and internalizing that to my business isn't working, so I'm a failure. Not just my business is a failure. Me personally, Evan Carmichael sucks as a human being.
Yeah.
That's what I came from. And eventually, we got through, and we can dive into that story if you want. But now what I want to do is help other entrepreneurs not struggle as much as I did. And so I'm a visual learner. I would rather see something than hear it or than read it. Mm-hmm. And so I started making content on YouTube, because that's how I would want to learn, and how I still do learn, by the way. Like, I'm still watching my videos as well. I make them for me and then share them with you. And also what I love about what you said there was being able to combine tasks together, like combining a physical task with a mental task, is something that more people should do. Like, mm-hmm. you're cooking and saying, hey, I'm cooking anyway. Why don't I use that? My brain isn't as active as it could be. How about I use that time for personal development?
Yeah.
And, I'm honored that you chose my videos as that outlet. But if you're going for walks or doing workouts or anything physical, cleaning up the condo or your home, putting on things that will make you better. You don't have to just sit down and carve out an hour of your day every day to just sit and watch videos every day. Like, you do it while you're doing something else.
Yeah. So as Tony Robbins says, using that net time, no extra time. And I do it while I'm jogging in the gym, while I'm driving, I'm listening to audiobooks. And when I'm doing certain things, I'm definitely consuming video content. So the personal development space and success space is where I spend a lot of time myself. And I speak and teach. And my book, The Sales Mindset Principle, is about success principles as well. And this is how I discovered you, because I was always consuming this content. So you being you could have chosen airplanes and cars to build a YouTube channel on. And I'm a fan of both of those too. Why did you choose the entrepreneurship and success, the personal development space?
It's because it's what I needed most. Right? Your purpose comes from your pain. That's what I needed. I needed to believe in myself more when I was starting up as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
If I had issues growing up around cars or planes, or that was my dream, I'm sure that's what I'd be doing right now. But that's what I struggled through. And your purpose comes from your pain. You want to help people who are like who you used to be.
When you started the channel and you decided this purpose, and there's so many thought leaders and influencers and success folks out there. How did you build up the connections, the contacts or how did you even choose which ones to start with and why?
So at the very beginning, when I started on YouTube wasn't what it is now. YouTube was not an educational platform. YouTube was a place where people were showing, a man falls down the sidewalk, or, here's my lunch, or it wasn't educational content. So long form videos teaching people was not the thing to do. I was early, but not like I prognosticated this would be the place. I'm not that smart. I just got lucky to be in the right spot. It took me 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers on my channel.
Wow.
Now, I didn't take it as seriously. I wasn't posting every day. I sucked. You can go back and watch my first videos and how bad they were. They're still there. You can see April 2009 was my first video. I was just posting things that I wish that I had seen. So I was posting stories about Walt Disney and Harley Davidson and companies that I had learned from. And I was trying to research their story and how they got started and try to share some of those lessons. I think what people would know me more for now, there's very few people who are in those first 7,000 subscribers in the first 5 years. People know me now for the top 10 rules of success and those kinds of videos that I put together. And the first top 10 I did, I never had visions of doing this. I did a top 10 rules on Kanye West, who's on my wall right here behind me. A friend of mine, Mark, made this blog post about Kanye and the whole Taylor Swift thing that happened, and years after it. And it bothers me when people don't see potential. So you might not like Kanye West. You might find all these reasons why he's a XYZ, whatever, insult you might want to throw. But you could also learn from him. Like, he's had a lot of success.
Yeah, he has.
He's won more Grammy Awards than anybody at his age in history. When people have success, it's worth paying attention to the things that you want to learn from them, right? You can ignore 89% or 98% of what Kanye says, but if that 2% can make you better, you should pay attention to the 2% instead of piling on the negativity.
Yeah.
So I made my first top 10 video on Kanye West just for my friend Mark.
Jeez.
This was not supposed to be some big thing, right? It was just supposed to be, Mark, my friend, go watch this video. And we had stories in there like John, John Legend?
Yeah.
Okay, John Legend's name is not John Legend. His name is John Stevens.
Didn't know
and
that.
Him and Kanye are friends, which already seems weird because John Legend seems to be like the nicest human of all time. Like, how are they friends? Already it seems a little weird. But they were in a bar in Chicago when John Stevens was getting his start, and he tells his friend Kanye, I feel like I've got an old soul. I feel like I'm not from this era. I'm from like the Sinatra era. That's more my voice and my style. And Kanye says, you should call yourself the Legend.
Wow.
And John Stevens says, I can't do that because what if I don't make it? I'm just getting started. I'm going to call myself a legend when I'm just at the beginning of my career. And Kanye convinced him to change his stage name to John Legend. Now, even if you hate Kanye and think he's a terrible human, awesome. Are you as good a friend to your friends as Kanye is? Like, can you learn from that story? And so that's what I wanted to do, just to show it to my friend Mark, to say, you might hate Kanye, but you should learn from him. And here's how you can learn from him. And it was supposed to be just this one-off video. It wasn't supposed to be this giant series.
6,200 videos later.
Exactly, right? And people liked that and said, hey, we love this. Can you do one on Jeff Bezos, Dame Dash? They just kept throwing off names. And I said, okay, yeah, why not? I like that. That was fun to put together. And that's the evolution of, my channel. Wow. But what I've always tried to do with everything I make is always show the positive, right? It's not the top 10 stupidest things Kanye West has said or done, which might even have blown up bigger than the rules for success. But everything I do is always trying to have that positive bent to it. So, 5 years in, I think that video itself is maybe 4 years old or so, 5 years old. And so the first 5 years was 7,000 subscribers. The next 5 years went from 7,000 to almost 2 million subscribers. And now we're over 2 million.
Outstanding. As of today, it's almost close to 2.4 million and almost 6,300 videos. And I do remember you in those videos saying, tell us, what subject or who you'd like me to talk about. And you would do it. And so while putting those videos together, Evan, is there one person or a subject while researching it that literally stopped you dead in your tracks and you said, oh my God, this is crazy?
So there's been a few, like Kanye one. I didn't even know if we could do that one.
Yeah.
But the John Legend story is a crazy one, right? I didn't know
resonates with me. And that was kind of my next question. And you kind of almost answered it already.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but there's been lots of those kinds of things. So one from people who like Kanye, that would have been one that I didn't expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that story. I assumed there was some stuff out there. He is a really talented guy that you should learn from, but I didn't know what I would uncover when I pulled on the story. Another one like that was Denzel Washington,
yes,
who we've done a lot of actors in the past, and it's really hard to get a good set of rules for actors, typically because in their interviews they're only asked about the movie, and they're not doing a lot of, or their questions are about gossip, who's dating who, and not stuff that is inspiring or that I can use for content. So we got the Denzel. I kind of just lumped them into the same. Okay, it's going to be a little rough, but let's try to find some spots. But Denzel is a beast. If you don't know Denzel stuff, he if his backup plan from being an actor was a preacher.
Yes, I've read that. Or
yeah. So
yeah,
as soon as we started researching Denzel, I was like, he's at a high school talking to these kids in a gym, and he's just like, he's pouring it out. It's like, man, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And just totally unexpected. And so there's a bunch of people that I've learned stuff from that I didn't expect to, because you kind of think of them as you lump them in. Well, he's just an actor. Like, no, but this guy's extra special. And then there's been people who I've never heard of who now, have created great influences for me. I look at Naveen Jain, Priyanka Chopra, who are Indian entrepreneurs who I just never really knew. But because of my audience, I'm not even that worldly or that smart. People just kept saying, hey, you got to do Naveen Jain. You got to do Naveen Jain. Okay, who's Naveen Jain? and we go look him up, right? And so we've tried to do a bunch of, entrepreneurs, not just Americans, not just Canadians,
not like the Steve Jobs or the Mark Cuban, and those types.
Yeah, and learning from them. And so that's been super fun for me, because I don't really pay attention to the news. I don't really watch what's happening. So I get my education from the research that I'm doing, and then from my audience who say, hey, you should try looking at this guy.
Oh, outstanding. So when you started the channel, did you have certain expectations and goals? And as because I'm doing the same thing you are. I'm nowhere near 2.4 million anything for fans right now. But have you exceeded those? Has what you've done or accomplished so far exceeded expectation? If so, why?
So, like I said at the beginning, I just wanted to create content to help some entrepreneurs who might be visual learners like me and feel like they're struggling. YouTube was a side project. I had a website that had 100,000 pages of content, and we work with a lot of the thought leaders to create tons of content. We had, I don't know, 5,000 people writing content for the website or something. YouTube was just a little side experiment. So I didn't know it was going to take off. YouTube also wasn't that kind of platform like we talked about. It wasn't the place. Now YouTube, if you're a thought leader, an expert such as yourself, who can make video content, you have to be on YouTube. Like, it's the place that everybody is going and consuming video content, especially long form. Like the advantage for someone like you who you've got a deep well of knowledge. It's not like you're just getting started talking about this stuff. So Instagram, you're making 1-minute videos. YouTube, you're making 10 to 60-minute videos. A lot of people can't make a long video because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have enough depth of experience, and they just repeat the same thing 8 times. You could make 100 videos and not repeat the same stories ever because of the experience you've got. So, logically, that's the place you should be. When I was starting, YouTube wasn't that place. And so it was just a little fun experiment. That's why it took 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers. But it's evolved into a very different animal now.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm definitely taking this because initially my team has already started to edit some new videos, a whole bunch of videos that we've done in the past that are really nowhere. No one even knows about. And YouTube is where they're coming, folks. So stay tuned for that.
All right.
Evan says so. And that's what we're going to do. Let's go. So what would you say are 3 things that resonates the most with that you've seen after you've collected all this data? There's 6,200 videos. I'm not sure how many, success folks or thought leaders or actors, whoever. What are 3 things that resonates with you most about these successful people that you kept hearing over and over, or you kept discovering over and over?
So the message of believe definitely comes through everybody. Like, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. That's anybody who's had success believed in their ability to go off and do it. Even though they may not have the most natural talent, they may not be the best at it. They just believed in their idea and believed their ability to figure it out, when other more talented people just convinced themselves that they couldn't do it. It's one of the lessons that I've learned the most. Like, there's dummies who are winning off of your idea, but they just started. They believed in themselves and you didn't. You're still thinking about that plan you had 5 years ago. This is too much of the problem entrepreneurs fall into. So the belief, definitely. Second is the willingness to then act on it, the willingness to start. A lot of people do listen to shows like mine in the kitchen while they're cooking, but then they don't do anything about it. Right? Like listening to the videos and reading the books is not enough in itself. It's great education, but there's lots of educated people who never do anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about then taking action, and all the successful people that I profiled, they all they do it, they take action. And then number 3 is just sticking with it. The number of bumps and bruises and pains and sufferings that you have along the way, like nobody wins out of the gate. Nobody wins out of the gate. And then they just keep sticking with it. And then eventually they win.
Outstanding. And you're right. I mean, famous Jim Rohn quote, it's not good to be smart and broke. And I know you featured Jim Rohn and many others like him as well. So what would you say? So you've mentioned Kanye West, you've mentioned Denzel, which I can certainly relate to, and I can totally appreciate them both in two different spheres. But is there a quote unquote entrepreneur, business person that literally, blew your mind? Not necessarily based on their accomplishments, but based on the person, what you discovered about the person.
I would say, especially recently, Brendan Burchard, if you know Brendan.
Yes, I'm all over Brendan Burchard stuff.
So Brendan, I knew of through the content, and in my space, it's my job to know guys like Brendan, at least know of them and their content. I got invited by Dean Graziosi, who's his business partner in a couple of ventures, to speak at one of their events, Growth, which was in Arizona. So a couple thousand people showed up, and I was there to speak. And I don't know, Brendan's never met me. He knows of my channel, but we've never met in person. And so we're backstage. I show up on the first day, and he says, Evan, and he's got just tons of energy. What you see on the camera, and if you ever join his live events, he's like that as a human. He's like just always, it's not just a show. He's always
not an act.
Yeah. He's just always like that. And what I loved about him was he told me on day one, okay, Evan, when you do your speech, I'm about to go into my an interview right now, but I'm going to make sure that I end it so that I can come and hear you speak on stage.
Wow.
As if I didn't have enough pressure already. I'm talking to 2,000 people, and now Brendan Burchard's going to end his interview to come. And if you look at if you're ever kind of behind the scenes in the green room or back room, all the speakers are just kind of doing their own thing. They're not really paying attention to what's happening on the stage.
Yeah.
And then, 15 minutes before you go live, the speakers just kind of by themselves backstage, just kind of getting ready. So the fact that he was going to end his interview to come and listen was a big honor, a lot of pressure at his own event. He's got a million other things to do, hosting 2,000 people.
I love his authenticity. I mean, that's what I picked up from watching him already.
Yeah.
He's pretty pretty authentic, and I value a lot of what he does for sure, and his emotion. And, I certainly value what you're doing, and it was one of those goals for me to always have influential thought leaders or experts in the field to show who are doing it well, to show me and the rest of the audience how to do it better, and how to act. And I love, taking action. It's action that led me to start this podcast and to say, you know what, I can talk to Les Brown. I can talk to, Evan, and let's go for those guys who are, who can help us and show us the way. So,
well, first off, that's like the fact that you said Les Brown and Evan is crazy for me, because young Les Brown is my hero. If I'm a speaker, I think young Les Brown is the greatest speaker of all time.
Yeah.
And I like Les Brown now, but he's got this like grandfather kind of joke.
Of course.
Jokey.
Yeah.
But young Les Brown,
I know,
man,
that was a Georgia Dome with 80,000 people.
Oh
or something.
Man, like nobody touches him in my view. So, I'm super humbled to.
Well, he's thankfully been on my show 3 times, and we communicate, every once in a while, and I appreciate him very much as much as I appreciate you. So tell us, Evan, a couple of minutes to go. the time that we're in right now, you know, the pandemic and everything, there are people out there who would say, you know, how can we, you know, focus on being successful? You know, there's so much distraction in the world right now. What would you say to people from a personal development and from a success perspective, and, you know, who have goals, who have aspiration and dreams? What would you say to them right now in this time?
Ask the same question, just change the intention. Your question was, how can I stay focused with all of this crazy happening right now? Ask yourself, how can I stay focused with all of this crazy happening right now? The difference is hope and belief that it's possible. Mm-hmm. If you just feel like it's totally out of control, you have no say, nothing can happen that's going to shift it, then great. Like, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. But if you shifted that to say, okay, crazy is happening right now, how can I stay focused? How can I prioritize my business? How can I use this opportunity right now to build my company? Right? I mean, my speaking business right now is zero.
Yeah, mine too.
Nobody's hiring speakers right now, right? I mean, everything I had on the calendar is canceled.
Wiped
all my
off.
Flights canceled. Like, I don't even know when it's going to pick up again, right?
Yeah.
We have some things tentative for next year, but I don't know.
Yeah,
right?
we're
Nobody
both in
knows
that
yet.
same boat. I could remember the last time I was on a stage talking to people or on a plane.
Everything just totally wiped out. So my speaking business went to zero right now.
Yeah.
But my YouTube channel has we 4x the number of daily subscribers on the channel.
Wow.
Why? Because I'm home, and all I'm doing is focused on making content and growing the business that I can grow. Right. So yes, there's chaos and craziness happening right now. Watching the news and keeping track of what the death toll is in your state or province 18 times a day is not serving you. Right. I mean, being informed is one thing, but just being paranoid isn't. And how can you use the time that you do have right now with the resources you do have right now to build something that is going to create the impact that you want to have? It's just changing that question, the intonation, like the same words.
Yes.
Just most people approach it with hopelessness that they can't do it. I just want you to approach it with hope and belief that it's possible. And if you shifted to say, this is possible, Les Brown, that's just all, it's possible.
It's possible.
Right? Channel a little bit of Les Brown. You're actually, I think your audience is actually smart enough to figure it out. You just have to believe that it's possible.
Evan, you recently published a book, your latest book. Why don't you tell us, the audience, a little bit about that, and before you wrap up today?
Yeah, it's called Build to Serve. I mean, it's right here. The idea is humans are built to serve. That if you're not happy in your life right now, it's because you're not serving other people, either serving the world. Chances are your audience has a bigger mission. They want to serve the world. But otherwise, just serving the 25 closest people to you, it's hardwired into you. It hits the same, serving others hits the same part of your brain as having food and having sex. So if you're not happy, it's because you're not having food, you're not having sex, or you're not serving, or some combination of those three.
Yeah. Hopefully not all three.
Then you're really unhappy.
Then you got problems.
Yeah. But how do you serve? Whom do you serve? How do you turn that into a business to then go off and serve? So it's full time for you, not just serving in the evenings and weekends. And you have some job that you hate to pay the bills. That's what I dive into with the book.
Well, Evan, I want to thank you very much for the time today. Any last words you want to share before we head out?
To share, I would just say, if you've taken any inspiration from episode number 68,
yes,
here,
sir,
to do something. I have a thing called the pillow test, where before I hit my head on the pillow every night, I want to ask myself, am I proud of the effort that I put in today?
Love it.
So if you've taken any energy from this and you've decided to start a podcast, or you decided to start a YouTube channel, or you want to write a book or be a speaker, whatever energy you've taken from this, that is today. That tomorrow is something else. Tomorrow might as well be next decade. Like you still got hours left today. Some kind of momentum has to be built to make your dreams come true. If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.